Just give me a...
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the listeners of the Good Anime Palette Podcast. Welcome to episode 110. And as you can see from our title, we are finally going to be going over the summer seasonal premieres of 2025. We do apologize that this episode has come out a little bit later than expected, but due to the fact that I was not in Hong Kong for a large period of time, and we've also had some crazy weather phenomena here. We're in the midst of a serious typhoon in Hong Kong. For those who are listening in Hong Kong, hope you're all staying safe and staying dry as well. Please stay indoors. Don't go outside and take photos. That's a really dumb thing to do. But without further ado,
still do that?
It's been posting on Facebook and Instagram. There are people out there right now in Chim Sa Choi by the pier, where the most dangerous place to be is in a typhoon, right by open water. Darwin, right? Like, you're going to have people that think that this is the best thing to do, which is hilarious, but also dark as fuck. So, yeah, I honestly don't understand, like, the whole storm chasing thing, because people who are storm chasers at the very least are prepared to get into some serious shit, whereas these are just people that are walking around in flip-flops and no safety precaution whatsoever, just going out with an iPhone and taking photos of the wind and everything. It's like, you can't really see wind anyway. I don't understand what is worth taking photos of. You can't see a typhoon. You just see the rain that comes from it. That's it. So
yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, I understand like storm chasers, but they go in with like RVs. They go in with like
actual equipment,
like gear, and like equipment to make sure, like like the news people that do all the hurricane stuff. Like, I get that, but yeah, I what, like, put it on Instagram to get your 15 minutes of fame? I have no idea. Anyways,
I don't know. I hope that nothing happens to them. I really don't wish for anything bad, but at the same time, like, there are times when people put themselves into trouble and then they resort to calling emergency services, which means that my taxes are going to saving these dumbasses.
Like, I don't hate you, but come on, man.
I hate
you.
Do
better.
Like, the amount of people that go, like, that visit Hong Kong and go hiking when it's like 35 degrees or 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and all of a sudden they decide, oh, you know what? I don't need water. This is a short, simple hike. Then they end up getting injured or dehydrated, and then they have to get like helicoptered off of the hill that they're on, and that costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars to do.
So I think it was like 2 to 3 summers ago, something happened that really, really, really pissed me off, which is similar to what you just said just now, which was a bunch of hikers and their golden retrievers went on a hike in like 35-degree weather with like 98% humidity. And for people who don't know, dogs cannot sweat like humans do. They use their tongue and then they sweat, right? So
they perspirate by actually just exhaling. There's no way for them to actually sweat out from their skin. And
that because of that, I guess
dog died, right?
Yeah.
2
of them.
Well, I mean, you say that. To be fair, last month that shit happened. Not the dogs dying, but people getting helicoptered off. Yeah. So it's sad that people still think it's a normal thing to do. These are the kind of people I wish that. Okay, look.
Like,
I don't normally wish death upon people, but these are people that seriously should not breathe the same air as I do.
All right, but what we should breathe is more anime into your ears, because that is how it works.
Yep. So, summer 2025. Let's get into it. Now, there are a couple things that we should preamble with. One, as much as we want to talk about everything, there's not going to be a whole comprehensive breakdown of the summer 2025 seasonal premiere. There's only so much we can do. More specifically, apologies on my end because of how busy I am. I actually haven't been able to watch much anime at all.
But to be fair to Will, last time, I think, was it the winter? There was one where I came out and you pulled through by doing all of it. So Like
It was
literally
tough.
watching
That was a very tough episode to do, just
Yeah.
because like just trying to figure out how much I could actually fit in. But yeah, no, like this time around, like it just things were just not like lining
Yeah.
up for me. Not to say that like I was in any trouble or whatnot. No, I had a great time with my summer vacation in Canada, visiting my newborn nephew and all that, and also attending a couple weddings and whatnot. But
and looking at
yeah.
some awesome Star Wars collections.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is, and my sister, they're both crazy Lego and Funko Pop collectors. So it's a very impressive Lego collection. Not just Star Wars, but they also have a bunch of like Marvel and Harry Potter, and a few other things too. They have a lot of what was that one where it's Bionics?
Bionicle.
Yeah, Bionicles. Yeah, that one. They have a lot of those too, and I fucking loved Bionicles when I was a kid. So it's good to see that it's still alive and well. Anyways, how we're going to do this episode is this time round, Jason will be taking the lead. He has watched a substantial amount of stuff, which means that he'll be more than capable of giving everybody their a good sense of what's going on this anime season. But without even talking about the anime themselves, if you just look at my anime list, things are looking very good for summer 2025. Very contrarian to how it used to be. Before, summers were kind of a drought. There weren't that many good shows to look at.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this time round, I would say there's a good like 15 to maybe even 20 series that people could comfortably pick and watch.
Yep. Not only that, but if we just go by metrics, score metrics, at the moment, as of recording, there are 10 8s and aboves. So, and the highest is like an 8 point, almost like a 9, actually. It's an 8.80. So, it's pretty good.
Yep.
We're eating good.
Yeah, it's the first time in 3 seasons as well that we finally have a top scoring anime that is in its first
sequel.
Season. It is not a spin-off. It is not a sequel. Basically, the last time that happened was back in fall last year with Orb. And we all know how good that shit is. So we won't go into the top scoring anime seasonal just yet. We'll sort of break down the season, maybe talk about some of the sequels that are out, and then go into the new shows. So, Jason, how do you want to start breaking things down?
Yeah, so Will, when we usually do these seasonal stuff, I usually put like all these general info, all these like MAL scores. But when it comes to the sequels, I really feel like there is not much to really add if they are doing the same shit different day in the best possible way. So things like My Dress Up Darling, Call of the Night, Dan to Dan, I watched, and I think they are really, really good. They're the same thing that you would expect. I don't think I have seen the Rascal one because I think there's like a movie that is supposed to be in between. The Dr. Stone I was never really into after I think season 2 or season 3.
What I will say is that the sequels, as expected, are performing quite well. And in fact, like they're scoring higher than their predecessors. So, for example, Call of the Night, it debuted at 7.95 for season 1, and currently for season 2, I believe that's like 3 episodes in. It's sitting at an 8.21. So that's a pretty big jump. An even bigger jump would be Dress Up Darling season 2 from 8.15 to 8.45. The biggest jump, I would say, though, is Grand Blue Season 2, which, for all intents and purposes, is a very popular show. Jason and I watched it, several years ago, and we weren't that impressed. Like, we could see why it's popular, but I think, like, for both of us, the comedy just wasn't really our cup of tea. But it clearly did sit well with a lot of viewers. The fact that in its first season, there was over 850,000 members, which made it the 239th most popular series of all time on my anime list. At the time, sitting at an 8.44 for its raw score. This time round, it is now sitting at an 8.75, which by all intents and purposes makes it a top 50 anime on my anime list. So whether or not it's because of the fact that we had to wait so long for a season 2, I think season 1 came out like
summer
way before
2018.
Yeah, so before COVID. It's been like a full 7 years exactly since it last came out. So Grand Blue or Grand Blue Dreaming season 2, pretty much the same thing. I'd say that if you liked Grand Blue, whether in anime or manga form, you're going to like the new shit now. So same studio, but this time around they also had Studio Liber as one of the production studios. So it's a joint venture between Zero G and Liber. So maybe having another studio on hand to do a few other things together, it's worked out for them. And then the other sequel show that I have on this list here would be Dandadan, of course, right? Now, Dandadan's an interesting one. It's actually very consistent across the board. So the original score for the source, which is the manga, is an 8.45. Season 1 for the anime is 8.49. And currently for Season 2, it's 8.47. So it's very much sitting in that same bracket, which means that this is as good as it's going to get for now. Don't expect this to drop off anytime soon.
Yeah, and to go off of Grand Blue Season 2, so of all the sequels that I was intending to watch, I was actually the most interested, I guess, not looking forward, but like anticipating Grand Blue Season 2 because of the huge gulf in time between Season 1 and Season 2, despite, the manga being as popular and as well known as it is. So I watched the first episode expecting well, first of all, do you remember the OP for Season 1?
Sort of. I mean, it's been a long time. We watched this
ages ago, but I think they grabbed the same person, the same group. So then, or at least it sounds very much the same vibe. So it's like summer beach kind of vibe, a lot of chanting. So it's like get you pumping and get you oh, let's go outdoors and jump into the sun.
Oh no, you're right. It is the same. It is the same band that did the opening for Season 1.
Yeah. So I was gonna see oh, okay. So is it one of those where it's just gonna pick up where it left off, and it really is. So Will and I don't really know. I mean, I personally feel a little bit more on the, well, this would be funny if I was maybe half my age and I was really funny when all guys get all naked and drink.
When you say the age thing, though, right? I feel that might just be our own perspective, but the fact that the manga itself came out 2014, the anime Season 1 came out 2018. It's been well over 11 years. It's not like the group that people that watch the series are getting younger and younger. No, it's the same people from day one. So I don't think it's an age or a state of mind thing. I think it's just we just didn't vibe with it in general. That's basically it.
And I don't think we vibe with it this time around either. So,
but clearly it's working well for other people. So the fact that it's already ranked 48th overall on my anime list, it has its place in terms of being a summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
If of course you've already watched Season 1, that is.
Yeah.
My main question is why it took so long for Season 2 to come out.
I mean, I have no idea, to be very, very honest. The only way that I will ever find out is if we interview someone who was in charge, on the production committee. But regardless what it is a good continuation in that, it's the same vibe, it's the same music, it's the same themes, same VAs. So if you like Season 1, and a lot of people did, and Season 2 is doing fantastic, so it's a no-brainer, basically. It's second.
Actually, what I think is, now that I actually have a few more bits of information, I don't think it's got anything to do with production delays or whatnot.
Source?
Of course, COVID, but it's also maybe the source, maybe it just needed more time. And also they actually produced and released a live action film of Grand Blue in August 2020. So that would have been the last thing that they would have had actual production for before COVID hit. And then, I think probably, the COVID just fucked everything and pushed everything back. We really would have had a Season 2 in the midst of COVID if it were not for COVID. So
right.
Grand Blue fans rejoice. You guys got a second season, and given how it's doing well right now and the fact that the manga is still ongoing, You probably expect a third season, though. Who knows if you have to wait another 5-7 years for the next season to come out.
Let's just hope there's no COVID in between, right? Another
Dude,
one.
I don't think we can deal with another pandemic so soon.
Yeah.
Like, markets are only just starting to recover a bit. It's so slow. So I don't want if all the anime that you've waited for so long to come out has finally come out and another pandemic hit, it would really set back the industry. So fingers crossed. Everybody stay healthy.
Yeah. Going off of what Will said about Dan to Dan and My Dress Up Darling, they are the same thing in that it picks up where it's left off, and it really, actually, especially Dan to Dan is kind of funny because, well, not funny, I mean it in like an ironic way. Sorry, not ironic, sarcastic way, because do you remember the last episode of what would be season 1 was utter shit, because it was the first, essentially what would have been the first episode of season 2, and it was like the Spy X Family thing, Will, of like the first operation in Spy X Family season 1, and then they do the aquarium scene, and it's just like what the fuck. Dan to Dan is the same but even worse, because it's essentially they start the first episode of the second arc, and then we waited until now, and it literally continues as if it, didn't skip a beat. So meaning, to me at least, they could have easily put that as episode 1, and
yeah, but then what would they have done in lieu of that episode then? They would have had to stretch out other episodes, which might have actually slowed down the pace.
No, yeah, I mean, it's easy for me in my armchair to say that, right? And then have to figure it out or not figure it out, right? So, but nonetheless, it is kind of good to see Dan to Dan back in full action, and it's going to be a lot of good fights, a lot of good choreography. Science Saru at their best. I think that is it for the sequels. Call of the Night Season 2, more of the same, melancholy, kind of chill love story. Is a little bit problematic if you think about it in terms of the romance, but I wouldn't worry too much about it if you are into it. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the sequels that I really want to talk about. I do want to watch New Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt at some point, but
yeah,
I just haven't gone around to it.
There's also, of course, like Sakamoto Days, Kaiju number 8, season 2, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, season 2, part 2. So there's a lot of things that have been going on, but it's also like, do we really need to tell you to watch Kaiju number 8 if you've already been watching it? Same with Sakamoto Days, same with to be fair, like Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, I know people have waited a long time for like season 2 to come out, so let's get everybody to, jump on the train, seeing that, part 1 came out 6 months ago, and now you got part 2. So they're really, going full steam ahead, despite the fact that they had such a long wait in between seasons 1 and season 2. Like 5 years. It was 5 years for like season 1 that came out at the beginning of 2020, and now you've finally got the ball rolling again with Hanako-kun. Interestingly, it's the scores are so consistent: 7.82 for season 1, then season 2 part 1 7.9, and now it's a 7.92. So there's just some things that don't necessarily change. Like if this is how much you enjoyed it the first season, you're probably going to be experiencing the same thing the second season. It's like not that much different for Sakamoto Days, not that much different for Kaiju number 8, though I do feel that maybe it's a similar thing, like a pacing situation, which is why like the score for season 2 is a bit lower than season 1. But
I think it's also the hype train.
We're so early into the season that it's hard to definitively say that like this is the score it's going to stay at going forward. But yeah, I think Kaiju number 8 itself is like is good but not mind blowing, which is why the manga is a 7.7, right? Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. In fact, I actually quite like it. But whether or not it's got the same gravitas to carry itself forward, who knows? Not to mention as well that it just ended publication this month.
Oh, congrats.
Yes, it ran for a full 5 years, which I think is it goes two ways. One, if it was planned, good. You don't want shonen series to overstay its welcome. But if it's because like sales are dropping or whatnot, then who knows? I don't want to speculate, but yeah. If anything,
I'm assuming it's the former, as in I'm assuming.
You could probably expect a full serialization of the anime for Kaiju number 8, seeing that with 5 5 years, 16 volumes, you could easily turn that into like 3, maybe 4 seasons.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so that wraps up all of the sequels that we really want to talk about. Again, with these sort of things, there really isn't a lot of shockers, and if there is, we will be talking about it. So you can expect all of your sequels to just be more of the same in a good way. And let's go on to some of the new shows, which I'm actually quite excited for. Will, how do you want to rank this in terms of sequencing? Because I want to talk about the summer Hikaru died first.
Go for it. Whatever floats your fancy, you can just roll with it, and then I will follow suit with my comments.
Sure. I think when Will and I were reading the summer that Hikaru died, and we were really hesitant, I guess, to be optimistic based off of what happened with Uzumaki and just horror, and then if you add in boy love themes, and then if you add in just a heavy dose of horror again, we were unsure how it was going to go. And it turned out to be quite a good show with a mouse score of 8.21. We did it for our ASAP. And it has a popularity ranking of 1846, ranked 342, and over 130,000 members. So pretty healthy. In fact, if you consider it for horror or oriented, it is fan-fucking-tastic. And the way that I would say, Will, is that this show pretty much captures exactly what you want from the manga that we read. And also, it does everything so well and is animated almost like, in a way, a little bit, is it called not stock footage, but like grainy film? And it has that kind of like a little bit of Blair Witch Project, that kind of shaky cam when things get like really intense. And I think it's a really good show. And if you read the manga, you have to check it out. We don't get a lot of horror shows that are doing this well. And Netflix, of course, is licensing and producing it, so they are having it on their platform. And I think it's one of the must-watch shows of this season period.
I think it's also a testament to the studio itself as well, Side Games Pictures. Like, we knew that they already had some pretty high-scoring stuff with the Uma Musume series, particularly like, you know, Pretty Derby as well as Cinderella Grey.
Yeah.
But then there's also like, well, I mean, was it a one-trick pony? No pun intended. Do they actually have other things up their sleeve? And then shortly afterwards, in the spring, they released Apocalypse Hotel, and that's also sitting pretty well too at 8.05. So the fact that the Summer Hikaru died is also being blessed with a pretty good mouse score. When I say pretty, I mean very good, 8.21. Yeah. I think they're showing that they're really holding their own. They're not just here to do, flashy originals, for the purpose of just making more and more money for gaming IPs, but they're also, making movements within the anime production itself. So props to Side Game Pictures. I would be, very interested to see how they continue to build their portfolio.
Yeah, and a shout out to Apocalypse Hotel, because the jump in score after everything aired was pretty significant. And it just goes to show how the numbers look a certain way now, but then by the end of the season, because everyone finishes it, it can jump or go down significantly. And but I think Summer Hikaru died, if anything, is going to keep going and with its momentum. And I just like the fact that there's a horror show that I can watch during the summer. It's just great.
All right. What's next that you want to discuss on this seasonal premiere?
Okay, so, Will, you like Tokyo Ghoul, right?
I mean, do I like it? Absolutely. I love Tokyo Ghoul.
Now, imagine Tokyo Ghoul as like your perfect girlfriend, okay? Waifu material, okay? Now imagine someone knocking on your door and it's your trashy ex-girlfriend from ages ago, and it has shades of your current waifu who is Tokyo Ghoul, you will get none other than Tougen Anki, which is based off of the ongoing manga series of the same name by Yura Yutsuribara, and it is nominated for Best Printed Manga category at the 7th Tsugoi ni Kuru Manga Awards in 2021, published in English by Yen Press. So, it has a MAL score of 7.14, source 7.12, so very, very close. However, the MAL source score has a popularity of 731, so that's pretty significant. It is essentially, Tougen Anki is a dumpster dive version of Tokyo Ghoul.
The way you described it, it just sounds super toxic and something that I would not be interested in.
Yeah. It talks about Momotaro, which is the Peach Boy, and also talks about Oni blood cursing. Essentially, Onis being demons that, plague and kill everyone and go into this heavy, heavy rage. And this Momotaro group just comes and tries to wipe out Onis. Well, what happens when your main character is an Oni that is raised by a Momotaro, ex-Momotaro kind of family member? And it is a show that I think is very, very trashy. That I think if you like Tokyo Ghoul, but you don't like Tokyo Ghoul, Tougen Anki is kind of the show for you. They have blood everywhere. They even use their abilities using blood. So, like, for example, the main character likes airsoft guns a lot. So when he turns into an Oni, surprise, surprise, all of a sudden, all of these guns and rocket launchers start appearing using his blood, and they shoot each other. And surprise, surprise, Momotaro as an organization, or supposed to be killing all Onis, may not be, the squeaky clean organization that they are, or maybe not. And trying to find a way to bridge the gap between Momotaro and Oni is basically the story of Tougen Anki. And yeah, it is. It reminded me of Tokyo Ghoul, despite not being Tokyo Ghoul in any shape or form that much. I don't know why. I just thought about it like that.
I'm just looking at the entries on my anime list. Is it right to say that most of the Onis are men and most of the Momotaros are women?
Nope.
Because that's not what it looks like on the character voice actors list.
Really?
Yeah, I mean Queen Sazanami is a Momotaro, and she's a big titty woman.
Oh yeah, there is a big titty woman with a lollipop. Yes.
No, that's Yamomogi Momokusa. The other one is Queen Sazanami, and she's also. Oh no, that's an Oni. Never mind, read it wrong. Okay,
I think there's 2 girl Onis, and there's like an Oni school apparently that is trying to teach them how to hone their powers, teach them how to not be savages, and try to, I guess, be the person that they're supposed to be and not give in to temptation and stuff like that. I think there are 2 female Onis and I think like 3 or 4 male Onis, something like that. But it's It really is just That's
I'm just reading the synopsis and looking at all the different characters. It looks fine. I think like if you needed like edgy, bloody shonen action, then this is it really. I mean, how does it look in terms of like animation? It's done by Studio Hibari.
Yeah, so it does the thing where everything looks good until, well, you can go one of 2 ways. When there's a fight and you use the blood magic whatever to do your fight as your tools as your Oni, and it is very, very much looks 3D animated, which of course it is. It kind of needs to be because that would take way too much time, but it looks a little bit cheap. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like it looks super shiny, for example. Like the 3D renders make it look really shiny. Does that, like, glossy? I don't know if that makes sense to you. It's fine though. Like, it's fine.
with a score of 7.14, it's clearly doing enough to get people interested to watch it, right? Otherwise, it'd be much lower. It's more just the fact that generally people feel this is a fine show. It's decent. It does the job, but like for you to try and put it on a pedestal to make it seem like this is the best action series, like it'd be pretty far fetched. So,
yeah. Especially when you have Dan to Dan in the same season, right?
I'd say good enough, right? It's not a bad show. It's definitely worth checking out if you need some action in your life.
Yeah, it's second rotation anime, basically, is what I would say. I know that's not the nicest thing to say, but that's honestly how I feel.
Look, there's going to be those kinds of series, though. You can't say that every series that comes out every season is going to be fantastic or like a blockbuster. Unfortunately, there are just some series where it's very clear that it was more just to get the anime out the door, or like a studio or a production committee just thinking that like, okay, well, we need to meet our quota, so let's just roll this out. Sometimes like you just know that a series is only meant to be mediocre just to put up numbers. That's it.
Yep. Okay, so the next show that we're going to talk about is originally one of the ASAP finalists that I was into considering was Secrets of the Silent Witch, based on the ongoing light novel series of the same name by Matsuri Isora, who did the story, and Nana Fujimi, who did the art. Oh, excuse me. The series was published in English as Secrets of the Silent Witch by Yen Press, and its manga was also published by Yen Press in English. Produced by Studio Gokumi, has a MAL score of 7.91, ranked 829, 72,000 members, and the source score is almost an 8 with 7.98, rank 823. So, the reason why I wanted to really consider this for an ASAP was originally it not only had a really high score, but because I was pretty intrigued by the story, where it is essentially takes place in, your typical high fantasy, no isekai though, your typical high fantasy setting, and you need, they all know how to use magic. Okay, fair enough. And they all have to enchant by using their magic. They have to say incantations, right? They have to recite the language and do the thing, which takes time, just like in Final Fantasy, how you have to spend time to summon your shit. So, however, there is one of the 7 sages. She is really special because she can summon and do things and have magic without doing incantation, like almost like cantrips, like super fast and just does shit. And she saved the world once, or she saved this kingdom. Fast forward, it turns out that this silent witch is basically Bocchi from Bocchi the Rock. Super nervous, really antisocial, almost borderline cannot talk to people. And then out of nowhere, her handler kind of shows up and goes, "Hey, so I need you to go to this really posh school and protect the prince, because you never know what bad shit might happen to the prince. So have fun, good luck, and don't die." And I thought, oh, okay, so this is going to be like a typical kind of action fantasy. And then it turns into Bocchi the Rock, but Magic High School. Yeah. It's really cute and fluffy. I don't really know how else to say it, but it was just a complete 180. And
yeah, I think with these kinds of shows, especially like fantasy without, because the only genre tag it has is fantasy, no action there whatsoever. So it's not fair to judge it based on how it looks. Though of course, like I would assume that Studio Gokumi, being the studio that worked on this, it should look fine, should look okay.
Yep. Look, it's more than presentable. Yeah,
which is great because Gokumi is not known for making good stuff.
Yeah,
at all. Like, I mean, they've also released another thing this season, which is the vending machine isekai. They've also done.
We have a soft spot for that show, but it is really tanking, that one.
Also, Dreaming Boy is a realist, Phantom of the Idol. Most of the stuff that they release are like low 7s, high 6s. But this time round, it seems like they might be able to break that curse and actually release something that is highly popular. I mean, 7.91 is as close as you're going to get to an 8. And it seems like it's got that based on merit, right? It's not just down to people giving it a chance or pitying it whatsoever. No, it sounds legitimately that it's a pretty good show.
It's a really good show, but I think the mindset you have to go in is you need to expect it to be a slice of life, and actually not an action. Like when I'm talking about like what Hichibori, like the antisocial little girl, or
yes.
Bocchi the Rock, it really is that archetype, and her trying to navigate the school and navigate social life despite being a super OP, don't need to use incantations to. I mean, she literally saved the world once, so it's kind of like played in that sense of a slice of life. So if you go in expecting this to be like, oh, it's ranked really high, and it sounds like a action-oriented show, it is not. But other than that, it's a pretty good show for sure.
Okay. I mean, are you up to current with the anime?
No, I am one episode behind, so I think it's on the 3rd episode, so I'm one episode behind.
But you're pretty up to date with, or at least you've read a fair amount of the manga.
Yes, I have. And I have to say that the anime is better than the manga because there's just more interactions and the more of like the vibrancy of motion, essentially. But
So
it's
a faithful adaptation and more.
Yes. But the manga is also a very good manga adaptation because obviously the light novel is the source. So I can't speak for the light novel, but the manga is pretty solid. I would give the manga a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10.
All right, cool. So
yeah,
good show to watch. If you need some fantastical slice of life, this is it.
Yeah, I would say this show is, in terms of all of the slice of lives that I've watched, it's probably ranked 2nd. I'll get into which one ranks the first, like, in a little bit. But, yeah, it is a very good show.
All right.
The next show that I want to talk about is a show that Will and I did for our ASAP, City the Animation, based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Kiichi and Arao, who did published in English by Vertical, produced by Kyoto Animation KyoAni, has an anime score of 7.85, source score of 7.92. This is going to be, unfortunately, compared to Nichijou because it's the same art style.
It's basically Nichijou, right? I mean, we talked about this when we were doing our ASAP, how the style and even like the way that the characters talk, right? The communication is it's pretty much down to a T, an extension of Nichijou, despite not being called Nichijou.
Well, yes. And unfortunately, I think Nichijou is better. I think City the Animation, according to the volumes that we have read, it is very, very faithful, almost to a T, to the point where they say, oh, this is chapter 2, this is chapter 3 of that character, and then, oh, you see the gag play out. But personally, I think Nichijou was way funnier, and City the Animation, it's almost like it's trying too hard. I mean, it's been a long time since Kyoto Animation has done a non-sequel. I think in 6 years. But this is a good-ish show. But if you go in expecting Nichijou, I think you will come out disappointed. Will and I are a bit iffy on the comedy itself, but I think it also goes to show that it's not that popular in comparison. Really goes to show about the reception of City the Animation.
I mean, It's always hard and unfair, I suppose, when you're trying to compare one show to another, especially like when you're trying to compare something that is the monolith in popularity that is Nichijou. So it was always going to have that working against it, I think. Nonetheless, like you can't blame people for wanting to make that comparison, considering that it is the same studio. Nichijou was done by Kyoto Animation as well, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, so same studio, the same people, the same style. Like
The same mangaka too.
It would be it would be crazy to not make that comparison,
Yeah.
whether it's fair or not.
Yeah, and I think City the Animation being compared to Nichijou is a fair comparison, at least in my opinion, and maybe because the manga is from a while ago, I feel like the jokes just don't land. It doesn't slap as we would like to say.
Like it's not as timeless as like Nichijou in that
No.
sense, right?
No.
Where you could still like watch Nichijou like many years into the future, and it still would slap.
Yeah, like because Nichijou was stupid. City the Animation is just dumb. I don't know if
Right.
that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a bit. I mean, I kind of get what you're talking about, but for those who might not be able to, what's the
Yeah.
difference between being stupid and being dumb? And I'm not talking about personalities or people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the shows themselves.
Like Nichijou is crazy. Like they remember there was a skit of them suplexing a deer. There was like there was a skit where they would grab a wiener, like a sausage, from hitting the ground. Do you
Yep.
remember? And that scene was beautifully animated, was fucking dramatic and absurdist as shit. Well,
I mean, one of the best scenes I saw from Nichijou was one of the girls getting bit by a dog, and then all of a sudden the nuclear explosion.
Yep. Well, City of the
Iconic.
yeah, it's really good. And also then all of a sudden they will have like random skits like Helvetica Standard, and then it just does like a 30-second gag, and then it just jumps right back into the schoolgirls and the gags. I feel like City the Animation is too clean and focuses on too many people right away, because they spend each gag focusing on a different inhabitant of the city. Obviously, they tie in the two now college girls who live together, and they are kind of like the main characters. But I don't know, it just doesn't hit as well as City of the Animation. And I'm just not that interested in watching it. And I don't think that it is a bad show, though. I just don't think it is as good as Nichijou.
No, not a shame whatsoever. I mean, like, you can't like everything, right? Like, if
No.
you've already spent so much time liking Nichijou, and then you find out that this is more or less the same, but not nearly as good, then you wouldn't be blamed for giving this one a bit harsher of a treatment.
Yeah,
I'd say, like you're it's coming from a good place. It's not to say it's a bad show. It's just that it's been unfairly compared to another series of the same studio, of the same director, and you can't help but make that comparison just because like there's too many similarities across the board.
Yeah, I really think that people who watched City the Animation was expecting Nichijou 2, and they probably got Nichijou 0.5.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the score's still pretty good, right?
Very good.
7.85. That's pretty solid. That's almost as good as Silent Witch. So it's not like it's a bad show. I think like the way that you come across saying it sounds a lot more harsh than it really needs to be. But I mean,
probably.
like I know you, right? Like just because you give something a 7 doesn't mean it's the same 7 for something else, right? Like it's 7.85, but you're coming from a place of disappointment because it's not nearly as high as Nichijou, which I think is an unfair comparison. But I don't blame you for making that comparison.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am making that comparison, so that's how I feel. But I also understand the giving everything its fair shake. For me, I just can't let go of the comparison to Nichijou. That's just something I just get constantly thinking about when I was watching City the Animation.
That's because you've watched Nichijou. You can't unwatch it, right?
Yeah, that's true. All right. The next show is Takopi's Original Sin, 6-episode ONA. We did it for ASAP last episode, right? People, you guys should read it. Well, you don't have to now, and you can watch it. I think now they have 4 of the 6 episodes from Netflix ONA completed, and it's sitting at a raw score of 8.94, ranked number 16, popularity 2235, which 103,000 members. It is insane, the reception for Takopi's Original Sin. And I think it is. Remember, you know those shows, or those kinds. I mean, I don't know, because I never watched Welcome to the NHK. But it feels like one of those shows where you're gonna go in feeling depressed. It's gonna be traumatic. It's going to be punishing, but it's like a good kind of punishing. You know what I mean?
I mean, these are the kind of shows where, like, you want to watch not because it's meant to be enjoyable, but because you just want some serious hard-hitting shit. For those who are uninitiated into the world of Takopi or didn't listen to our ASAP episode talking about Takopi, it's, for lack of a better word, essentially an analysis of the human condition.
Through an alien.
Right? Yeah, so essentially an alien comes and sees, oh, people are sad here. That's not good. Let's make everyone happy. And by doing so, they make things worse, because the things that they lived and experienced does not translate to the harsh realities of growing up in, modern day Japan or modern day Earth in general. There's things called emotion. There's things called, having to make tough decisions. And unfortunately, when you have things go so smoothly and so well in your life, you've never had to make those decisions. Therefore, it's really hard for you to surmise that, there isn't a one-all solution for all of the world's problems, that it's a lot more nuanced than that. And to essentially boil down 6 episodes of horror into, like Takopi's Original Sin, I'm very surprised that it got this high a score.
Me too. I'll be honest.
I think, look, you and I both read the omnibus, right?
All of it. Yeah.
So both volumes of it, and whilst I like it a lot, I also don't feel like it would have cracked my top 10 mangas of all time. It's not down to like how short it is. There's nothing. I mean, like, just
no. Usually, the shorter it means that it does its purpose, right?
Like, I mean, like what? Like, just listen to the music, or just listen to the song. Anything essentially that was like less than a volume. If it's done well, that it's succinct and it sends a message.
Yeah,
and that's essentially like all that needs to be done. So, whilst I saw the score of the manga and then having read it myself, I thought that the score of 7.73, it was more than adequate. I think it was a fair score. It's something that, like, I wouldn't have blinked twice and be like, wow, they've really done this manga dirty. No, I think it was fairly judged. And so then to see that it is an 8.93 on my anime list, that is
inflated,
crazy.
Yeah,
it's insane. I mean, a pretty brand new studio as well, right? Like Inishiya only did like the revamped version of Spice and Wolf, and that came out last year.
Yeah.
Before that, they were working as a producer for like music videos or game trailers.
I think they did it for Eve. I think.
Yeah, so it's not like it's not like they have like a long, illustrious portfolio of works, right? So there's 2 reasons why Takopi is doing really well. One, hype. It's something that's insanely different from like your usual slew of anime, and it probably helps that it is a ONA. Right? If it was actually like properly syndicated, broadcasted on Japanese TV, it'd be toned down a lot more. And since we're covering such like gritty and serious topics in Takopi's Original Sin, I feel like you would lose a lot of the intricate details of suffering and depression that would be needed to fully understand and appreciate Takopi's Original Sin. Now, having said that, I don't know why it's so popular. other than maybe it really is that good.
I think the reason is several things. I think the first thing is that remember listening. I didn't listen, but I remember us talking about what the anime would look like in terms of score. And you said it was like maybe like a 7.6, 7.8, like somewhere within like the source score.
It really should. It really should. And the reason why I say that now is because if you look at the reviews for Takopi's Original Sin, the anime, right? Mm-hmm. There are a total of 42 reviews, 24 of which are recommends, 8 have mixed feelings, and there are 10 that are not recommends. So that's a good 25% of people that are like, hey, this shit is not good. It makes you feel empty, and the emptiness is not intended. It just does not fly. Like, some people just were struggling to understand the appeal of Takopi's Original Sin. Then there are ones who are like, oh, it delves deep into heavy topics. It explores an emotional story surrounding mental health and whatnot. And it, sort of like explores how one guides themselves when dealing with their own internal struggles, da-da-da-da-da. And I think, hey, maybe the reason why it's so popular is because there are people who are just as damaged and, struggling internally. And to see that play out on screen might be, a bit cathartic.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you saying, like, when people go on Reddit and say, guys, I just need some, what we call trauma porn. I just need to feel something. I just need to feel like shit. Do you have any animes to recommend? So I think, like, Takopi's Original Sin is one of those where it's really good at testing the human condition, both in terms of the characters in the anime and you as a viewer. And I think it's just because it's novel. I think at the end of the day, it's novel.
Yeah, but that novel also comes with like shock value too, right? And I think that's what is leading people. Like, look, we know the popular score, which is the 8.94, right? But then we also have like the critics score, the people who actually take the time to write down how they really feel about it. And it's a very even split in terms of like people who are unsure or mixed or like not recommending the series versus people who are like wholeheartedly, this is good, this is really good, you should definitely watch it. Because the main thing that is sort of dividing people, but it is a common theme, is it deals with mental health. And no matter how you look at it, right, just because it deals with mental health and it portrays it in a way that is consumable as a form of media, it does not mean that like both sets of people are going to see eye to eye about how mental health is portrayed.
Yeah, and
right?
I'll be honest.
On one side, you have people who really, really go deep down and enjoy the misery porn, and then there are people who feel like that is an exploitation of mental health, or at least the debilitating side effects of people who suffer from mental illness. So that's why you have that split, despite the fact that they're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, and I think one other thing that really is shocking to me is 103,000 members, almost 104,000. I did not expect that. I thought it would be like 30K, 40K, be one of those cult classics, or like, like one of those underrated shows. But no. I
mean, it very much is. I mean, right now it's scored higher than Gintama, A Silent Voice, Planet After Story, the second season of Apothecary Diaries, Code Geass season 2. Yes. March comes in like a Lion second season, crazy. Monster, Owari Monogatari second season, the final season of Attack on Titan, the Violet Evergarden movie, Your Name, Kingdom, Vinland Saga. These are the names that it's toppled in just a short 3 weeks.
And there's only 6 episodes, and I think 2 of them have yet to be released. So,
my issue now then is that it's probably going to stay there. It's probably going to stay at its current rate, current slot, which is 18th overall. Which one, like, I'm not going to say it doesn't deserve it, but at the same time, I'm also then wondering, like, what is the massive appeal for it? Like, look, I'm all for it to succeed, whether or not like I am okay with the really sensitive mental health related themes that it covers. What I want to sort of go through with it though is that people are portraying this to be at like a masterpiece level, that this is like the creme de la creme, the pinnacle of anime and manga, which I 100% refuse to say it is. And this is not me coming off as a hater. No, I'm trying to be as non-biased unbiased, nonplussed as possible.
I mean, you read the source. You gave a fair shake, right?
Yeah,
and
I gave it an 8. I was very much teetering between giving it a 7 and an 8 because I liked the direction they were going with. I just felt that it was something that was very, very risky, and they pulled it off. But at the same time, like, you know, like, you're still talking about mental health. You're still talking about, like, people who, like, dude, there's, like,
kids.
a lot of, yeah, exactly, right? Like, we're talking about children who unalive themselves. It happens way more often than it should.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand
Spoilers.
that, like, yeah, I understand, like, dude, it happens in the first chapter.
Yes,
Literally 6 pages in, and there's a kid that's hanging by a noose. Like, there's no, like, sugarcoating it. It is a fucked up series.
Yes.
And now, like, that's what I'm sort of conflicted by. Are people embracing it because it's that fucked up? Because I feel like at that point, you're missing the point of Takopi's original sin. Like, if you wanted to sort of embrace the darkness and say everything is shit and everything is black, there's no white, everything is fucked up, then, like, you are probably not reading or watching Takopi the way it's intended to be.
Yeah,
I don't want to be the one that, like, kind of, like, tells people how to consume, you know, a manga or an anime. That's not my that's not my message here. It's more just, are you really sure you know what you're watching here? Because I don't like the fucked up things. In fact, like, I like Takopi because it deals with it, but not because of the fucked up details themselves.
You see, so I think, first of all, I think I was more keen.
You watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, like, do you watch all 6 episodes, or just, like,
I mean, no, there's only 4 of the 6 right now.
Oh, right now, okay, yeah. So you watched enough, and it's stuff that you've already read it, meaning that you have a pretty good grasp on how to talk about it, right?
Yeah, and I just feel that it's novel, so it's new. You don't get a lot of these types of heavy ass shows that really delves deep into the human condition and mental health.
There's one that I think would be perfect as a counterpoint to it, Mushishi. I think that one deals with, you know, inner struggle and mental well-being, like, really, really well. And that was, you know, an old-ass show. Came out 20 years ago. That's an 8.65. It is a full zero. It's a full letter grade below, right? This is the difference between a B+ and an A+.
Yeah, I honestly think it's because of the novelty and the shock value. Like, I think when... Look Back is a really good one, and that one's rated lower than Takopi, which I think is criminal. Yeah.
Now, granted, Look Back being 8.64, a bit high for me. I would have given it an 8.4, 8.5, but, like, I'm not going to complain of being 8.64. I am complaining about Takopi being this high. Like, any additional points, and it would be top 10.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, it's on the precipice of it, honestly.
You can't have a top 10, no.
Yeah. I think when we said our scores, you said...
Oh, sorry. I said, no, it's not 18th. It's 16th overall.
Yeah, 16th, yeah. So I think you said something about high 7s when we were making our guess, and I said low 8s. So we were both way off.
Again, you were closer than me, but even then, right, I still think for you, like, 8.94 is crazy.
What the fuck is going on? Like, don't get me wrong.
It is 0.01 points behind Fruits Basket, the final, which at one point was the highest rated show of all time on my anime list.
So here is what I think might happen. You say that the score will stay the same. I think it will drop because when the ending occurs, not because it's a bad ending, but I guess there's all this expectation of how is it going to end up? How is things going to resolve? Because technically, if you didn't read the manga, you don't know what's going to happen yet. So,
yeah, but I feel like because of the fact that it already has so many members on there, and I would wager that the majority of them have already, like, voted as to how much it's worth, which is why, you know, it's an 8.94. I feel like even after you finish the last 2 episodes and the series itself is done, I don't think that, you know, even if you had, like, another 25, 30,000 people on there or however more many, it would be enough to fully drag the score down. Like, look, it will probably still, like, lose points. I'm not going to deny that, but how much more? I don't know. At this rate, I would not be surprised, based on the metrics and based on how people vote, that it would still be a top 50 show, which in my mind is criminal.
Yeah, I honestly, I was going to say top 50. I would think it would be like an 8.6. 8.5.
8.7 would actually be top 50. If 8.6, then you're dropping down to like close to like top 100, which again, still for me, way too high.
Right. But regardless,
top 100 includes like Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Death Note, Ping Pong the Animation, Natsume Book of Friends, Made in Abyss. You and I don't like it, doesn't matter. It's rated that high. Odd Taxi, fucking that Chinese one, Link Click, right? Like those things are top tier for a reason. It's super fucking popular. I don't know if it's at that, like at this point, like it's rated higher than almost every single Ghibli movie.
Yeah. And technically speaking, it is obviously because it's an ONA, it doesn't count as broadcast. It is the number one show this season, technically.
Yes.
And it is, again, Will and I are not saying it is not deserving of having a good score or a high score. Not this high, though.
If we did seasonal bets, we both would have fucked up massively by overlooking Takopi's Original Sin. But the more I talk about it, the more I sound like a hater. But you know where I'm coming from.
No, I
right?
know. And again, it really, I just feel like because you don't get a lot of these shows, with the shock value instantaneously, that's not edgy, that is just straight up raw. I think people just lap it up, honestly.
Yeah, that's probably why you have people who are still waiting to, finish, the third season of Squid Game and whatnot, which is like, I understand why there's a certain appeal. I even talked when I was in Canada. I was talking to my brother-in-law, and he was like, talking to my sister about finishing season 3 of Squid Game, and I'm like, dude, what's the point? Everybody fucking dies. It's like, yeah, I know. It's expected, but like I still want to see that shit happen, right? It's like, then that's the part where I'm like, so you're not really into watching it for the purpose of seeing like a popular show and enjoying the story. No, you just want to see suffering, and that's kind of how I feel like the majority of people going into Takopi were expecting to see as well.
Yeah, and it just so happens that the manga source material is also pretty good. So because of that, it elevates it. You know what I mean? Like it inflates it, but elevates it even more, like a curve. So at the end of the day, this is the number one show technically by raw score. I don't think it should be, but it is also not a bad show. Very faithful to the manga, and obviously it's going to play out in its entirety. I'll be very interested to see how it pans out when everything is all said and done, which is in like 2 weeks. All right, Will. Now sit back and relax as I go over essentially all of the decent slice of life shows this season that you might want to be watch, or whoever is out there that's interested in learning what Fluffy Sama has to say about slice of life.
Yeah, you want to talk about minerals?
Yeah. So Introduction to Mineralogy, known as Ruri Rocks, is based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Keiichiro Shibuya, who did the story and the art. Anime of 7.65, rank 1450, 35,000 members. There is no source mal score, and I don't think there is an English a publication of this manga. And that one sentence synopsis is the story of Ruri, who is a girl who likes jewelry and accessories, diving into the world of mineralogy. It is exactly that. Ruri really wanted a necklace at a mall, and then she's like, well, shit, it's too expensive. Well, I heard from people that there are minerals hiding in this like mountain area in the back. I'm going to go chill there and try to find some minerals. And then she bumps into essentially an enthusiast, an onesang who is super into mineralogy. And they just go and get crystals all day, every day.
And this is Arato Nagi, right? The black-haired, yeah. I'm just looking at the poster for it, and then I saw the studio that did it, and I'm like, no wonder they drew her like that.
Okay, so yes, it was very distracting, if you will, but
basically she got the big booba,
Yeah.
Very big booba. And it's also done by Studio Bind, which is notorious for making the scummiest reincarnation of all time, Mushoku
Yeah.
Tensei. So, no wonder they gave her some stacked minerals to work with. But okay, jokes aside, right? This is a CGT CT. Cute girls doing cute things. They're doing rocks. They're doing minerals. They're doing like the panhandle stuff. Like I'm sure they're like sifting
they literally
through rivers and whatnot. Right?
The first episode, they sift. They do the actual like California gold rush, huh?
The panhandle. They're actually going through and just like sifting through dirt and rocks to find flakes of gold.
Flakes of minerals and gems.
Right.
Yeah. And then they excavate shit. They use like heavy hammers and like chisel, I think, right? Yeah. And learn a bit about rocks and minerals. It's also, for whatever reason, really well animated for what it is.
I mean, it's Studio Bind.
As a slice of life, it should not be animated. It doesn't need to be animated this well, but for some reason, it's animated really well for no reason. Which I'm all for it. It's just, wow, I did not expect that. It's not like imagine if you were to watch a slice of life, and then all of a sudden, for the first time, you're watching a KyoAni slice of life, and you're just like, whoa. And then this is how I felt. It is very pretty. The minerals obviously is a very good theme in that. And obviously the two female main characters are just very friendly with each other despite meeting for the first time, and then they just go on a journey to hunt for rocks, and that's it. It's just really good, one of those.
Hey, maybe this is the slow process of Studio Bind moving on from doing pure ecchi stuff to being a little bit more sensible. I mean, they besides Mushoku Tensei, they also did Onimai.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Onimai, they did Flower in Asura, which I think I did watch an episode or two, and it was okay.
I think Onimai did really well in the end. I think
7.65, higher than when we first watched it.
It was like a 6. I remember.
It was still a bit problematic for me, but
yes, it is. But hey, good for Studio Bind, I guess, right? So
Yeah.
Ruri Rocks is nothing fancy, or I'm gonna say nothing shiny. But it's always worth its weight in gold if you're really into it. So that is Ruri Rocks. Now probably into the for me, Solo Camping for 2. Now it's based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Yudai Debata, who did the story and the art, published digitally in English through K Manga. Score of 6.57 and a source score of 6.90. Now, it's going to be compared to Yuru Camp, Laid Back Camp, and it's not going to win in any category when compared. Synergy SP does good, okay? But what it is instead of what's the girl's name in Yuru Camp who Rin. She does the solo camping. So this is now, instead of Rin, you get Gen, an old dude, and for some reason one day or one night, a girl kind of came in and like had to borrow his flames because she fell down into the river, and she's a very inexperienced solo camper. And it turns out that Gen is a very experienced solo camper, and it essentially is edutainment where they teach you how to camp and rely on your own, like how to get what's the branches,
Tinder.
the shavings, what do you call it?
Yeah, getting Tinder.
Yeah, getting Tinder, and then like using the fire starter with like the metal knives, and they made beer chicken.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's that kind of show, and essentially how it goes is the old geezer Gen essentially crosses path with Shizuku Kusano, who is just really out of her depth, but really wants to do solo camping. So essentially she's like, hey, you're really good at solo camping. Why don't I just, tail you so I can be a good solo camper? And then thus the name Solo Camping for 2. It's a very good show to put on in the background. I don't think that show is necessarily the prettiest either, which is probably why it has a 6.57. I also think the comparison to Yuru Camp is going to happen because that's the only other camping show that I can think of that people will compare it to in recent memory, and it's not going to do well against Yuru Camp. But if you want more on the edutainment side and a more adult because they drink beer and stuff, Solo Camping for Two is a good pastime.
Despite its low score on my anime list.
Yeah, because it's very niche, right, with camping. And it's not like Yuru Camp where it's just cute and where it's, or like Mono where it's like you go sightseeing. Like this is strict.
Is it niche though? I feel like there's been enough like camping shows that have come out recently.
No, sorry.
Or maybe I'm just overthinking because what was wait what are you using?
What I was going to say, I think I misspoke. You're right in that there's a lot of camping shows recently, and also I think a lot of people going camping recently, right, because of these shows. What I wanted to say was, I think it's niche as in it focuses on the edutainment and solo camping aspect. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it's,
okay.
So it's not like, oh, you register. I mean, they do have to register at a park just to make sure, at a camping ground, make sure that, they know who you are and they keep track of your whereabouts. But it talks about, like, how do you survive on your own when there is no one else there because of solo camping? Like, what if you get injured? What if you fell into a ditch? What if, like, I'm assuming they will go into that because the main female character literally went through hell and back just to kind of get to the camping grounds where Gen is just chilling like a villain with coffee, So
Right.
I think it's really much focused not on the vibe of Yuru Camp, not on the cuteness and fluffiness of Yuru Camp, not even on like the sightseeing aspect of Yuru Camp. It's more like Bear Grylls solo camping anime edition, but not as brutal. That's what I think Solo Camping for Two is, which is why I think it's very niche, because it's like hyper focused. You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay. Now, I think you're still on the train of slice of life, right?
Yep. There's still a couple more shows we'll go, but I do want to end with the show that, those three shows. Yeah. So the third last show I'm going to talk about is called See You Tomorrow at the Food Court, based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Shinichiro Narie, who did the story and the art. The series is published in English by Yen Press, has a MAL score of 6.93 and has a source score of 7.31. So, Will, have you ever just chilled out with the boys and just like go to McDonald's or go to a food court in this situation and just chill the fuck out after school and just talk about a bunch of stupid shit?
Man, you're asking me about stuff I did over 20 years ago. I probably did, yeah. I probably, yeah.
Right. So Wada is a quiet rich girl, while Yamamoto is a gyaru. And they very much are polar opposites. They don't even acknowledge each other at school. But once school is done for the day, they take the JR train to a really far away food court that they always meet every single day, and all they do is just chill in the food court and just talk about things like aliens, talk about YouTube, talk about social media, talk about random stuff like intelligence, and then talk about fashion with coats, like the stupid non sequiturs, the tangents that you will have when you are just chilling with your friends and then just having really dumb conversations because you run out of things to say.
Right.
That is See You Tomorrow at the Food Court. I think it's very endearing, and I think it's really it's a good time because it really feels like you're sitting with these two people and you're just talking about the dumbest shit. Like, there in the first episode, Wada did a thing where she thought she had to overpay for her Kentucky Fried Chicken, and she didn't. And they spent at least 5 minutes on this topic. And I wouldn't say I'm like hyper engrossed and focused, But I was listening and kicking back and just vibing with the whole discussion. And it just somehow works for me. I think it's one of those shows where if you want to unwind and chill, this is like a very rejuvenating kind of show. And I think
I'm noticing a trend within like, you know, how anime is produced nowadays, where you either go for the seriously really, really, really fucked up shit, or you go for the seriously really, really mundane shit. Like there's no in between.
dude, this one was so mundane. They talk about a part with aliens, and then they talk about like, oh, I want to be an airplane so I can see crop circles, and then they talk about aliens. Like,
no, these are like smoke too much weed, 3 a.m. shower thoughts. These are things where it's like you don't necessarily talk to people in public because people look at you and be like, Dad, what are you smoking, dude?
Dude, they literally spent, I think, like minute 4 of the anime. They sit down, right? And then they're like, dude, you never text me. You never answer my texts. And then guess what they do for the next like minute is then they talk to each other, sitting next to each other, but they text each other. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's just the kind of dumb shit, 3 a.m., like, smoked out of your mind type interactions. I just think it's really funny, and it's really cute, and Atelier Pondark did a very good job with the show.
Okay, all right. Atelier Pondark, they did Ojisani Isekai, right?
Yep.
Okay,
And
right.
this one is not as fancy, obviously, but it looks still really good. But
all right.
you stay for the convos, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm definitely interested to hear what kind of, you know, food court conversations go on in anime. All right, what's next? Where you want to bring onto the docket next?
So, the second last show I'm going to talk about is probably the show that you should watch this season. It was our ASAP selection, and it is The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, based on the ongoing manga series. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. You are going to watch it, and you just need to watch it. It's a really good manga. I think we rated it pretty high, Will, right? Like, you were pretty hot on it, right?
Oh yeah, Fragrant Flower was good. Yes,
and it is Horimiya levels worth of aesthetics and like Cloverworks. Like, imagine that kind of sharp, fluid graphics, and the girl is just way too cute. It's really, really good show. It is the #1 serialized show if you discount Takopi's Original Sin, and I think it's very much deserving of that. And it's the first non-sequel show in, like, how long you said it was? Summer of last year?
Since fall of last year.
Fall of last year. Very much deserving. It is ranked 8.80, ranked 35. And popularity 1430, 182,000 members. So, in fact, you don't even need me to tell you to watch it. You're probably watching it right now and agreeing with me that it's a pretty dope-ass show.
I wouldn't argue against it. I mean, like, I liked the manga enough to like give it like an 8 or possibly a 9 if I kept on reading it. I mean, it's consistent in terms of like the score for the source and the current score for the anime, right?
Yeah, it's very much what you would expect of a really good adaptation with a very above average, production value. It's just really good all around.
All right. Okay. I mean, is there anything you need to say to convince people to watch it, or is there like enough for people to be like, you don't need to hear what I say, just watch it?
Yeah, I really think this show, The Summer Hikaru Died, Secrets of the Silent Witch, and the last show that I'm talking about are pretty much the 4 shows that you really need to watch this season that are non-sequels, which goes into the last show that I'm going to talk to you about and the listeners, With You and the Rain, based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Ko Nikaidao, who did the story and the art, is published in English by Kodansha USA, has a anime score of 7.47 and a source score of 7.47. I read this manga since volume 1, and I'm on like volume 6 now. So you can probably tell how I feel about this show. I think this is the most comfiest show that you will watch this season. What is it about? Imagine if Komi Can't Communicate grew up, like Komi the girl grew up, and she became a writer, but she is very dumb, like an airhead. And she somehow on one rainy day come across a raccoon.
Well, specifically, it's a tanuki.
Yes, a tanuki raccoon. And she thinks it's a dog.
Tanuki, because tanukis are raccoon dogs. It's weird.
Yes.
It's like a weird mythological. I don't even know if they're real.
And they can transform, right? That's the tanuki thing, right? So
yeah.
And it just so happens that this tanuki can also write words, so can communicate, and he communicates by writing on stuff. And he tries to convince everyone around her, like the vet, like her father, like the guy that eyeballs her every time she walks in the park. And it's just really funny and really chill. And it's just the two of them, the raccoon and the lady, just chilling. That's it. Just doing nothing else. Like, oh, do you want to just chill in the bath and then talk about where did you come from? What was your life like before, I found you? And then that's it.
Yep, that's it. There's not much else to it other than it's a girl and her raccoon dog thing.
Yeah,
Chilling.
And it's funny. It's very soothing. You know what it reminds me of? Will, I mean, right now it's Typhoon 10, so it's raining and heavy gusts of wind and flooding and everything outside. But what if it wasn't that serious, but it was a serious enough rainstorm outside? But inside, you're warm, you have a hot cup of cocoa, you're under the covers, you're probably reading something or watching a show. Do you understand that comfiness?
Yeah, I do.
That is With You and the Rain in a nutshell.
It's basically like, it's the perfect accoutrement to when you want to stay indoors because it's shitty weather outside, you need something to pass the time, but like this is more than just passing the time. This is fully enjoying life.
Yep. Actually, that's very well put. It is not just spending time, it's enjoying life. It's really good. I did not expect it to be this good. I was like 7.47. Oh, okay. It's pretty good. It's exactly the same score as the source. It's a slice of life because I know it's like a little bit of a gag humor kind of thing. Huh. And then it turns out that when you add in the anime production, when you add in the voice, you add in the music and the vibe, it really makes it very, very heartwarming. And I cannot, I think even Will, when before we started recording, you said one of your friends recommended you this specific show, right? Yep. And I would agree.
That's because she has she loves raccoons. So
okay. But still, this is, even if
like exactly. You went in there just liking raccoons. That's enough. That's enough to enjoy the show.
And it's kind of funny. Like there's a part where I'm just gonna call her Komi Can't Communicate girl because she really embodies that vibe. And she brings the raccoon dog home in a box that she found him in, and then she was like calling people, right, to be like, what do I do? And then she calls someone, and then someone picks up and is like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, the rain is really hard outside, right? And then she goes, oh, hi, Dad. Sorry, I called the wrong ass number. And then she just hangs up. She doesn't say goodbye. She doesn't say whatever. She hangs up and then calls his brother, who's the person he wants to call, and teaches her how to take care of the dog. And that was just like a bit that was just played as if it was very natural, but it was actually kind of funny in a very quiet, subdued kind of way. And it's full of that everywhere. I just think it's a really good show.
Nice. Yep. I'd say overall, this, like as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, there's a lot of good stuff to watch, and it would be really hard for you to, not enjoy at least like 2 or 3 series for this season. So whatever your pick is, whether it's fantasy, action, horror, comedy, you'll definitely find something that suits your needs.
Or Degen Beach scuba diving.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Okay. That knocks off another seasonal review for summer 2025. That doesn't mean we're done with the year, though. There's still one more season to come up before we get into 2026. Well, we're more than halfway through the year now. So the next one we'll be doing would be fall.
Yeah.
So we expect that to come out in about, 10, 12 weeks' time?
Yep, something like that. Yeah, so beyond that, thank you for listening to this episode of the Good Anime Palette Podcast. If you want to, we really appreciate you leaving a ratings or review on your podcast listening platform of choice. If not, it's all good. Thank you for listening nonetheless. If you want to contact us, you can always reach us through our email, gapalette@gmail.com, GAPALETTE, all lowercase, all one word, using the handle @PaletteGood, capital P and capital G, all one word. And we encourage you to check out our website, www.goodanimepalette.com, all lowercase, all one word. Music credits for this episode. Our intro music is Waste My Love by Henyao. Our break music is Purple Clouds by Sara, the Illstrumentalist. And our outro music is Those Monsters Do You Feel It, the instrumental version by Oi and BDHD Nick. You can always support the music artists that we feature by listening to them on Spotify, Apple Music, or your music listening platform of choice. And Epidemic Sound provides all of our royalty-free music. If you're interested, you can sign up using the referral link in our show description. Terms and conditions apply. I really think that this season, especially in the summer, was very, very surprising that all of these heavy hitters, or would-be heavy hitters, showed up for the summer season. As Will mentioned earlier on in this episode in the very beginning, summer is usually like everyone's rest period for anime production. It's always when it comes back to the fall that everything ramps up. But summer this time around is full of amazing choices. There's so much we didn't even go over that I think are worth checking out. But even the ones that we did check out and talk about, I think most of them are worth your time to consider. Will, any parting thoughts before we head off for the episode?
Yeah, there is a thought. There's actually a lot of anime this season. I just realized, holy shit, like, it kind of makes sense why we have such a high number of high 7s and 8s. By my count, there's at least like 55 series this season.
Yep. And there's so many sequels, like Rent a Girlfriend, not Rent a Girlfriend, a couple of Cuckoos. I think Rent a Girlfriend was last season, but there's so many shows. Yeah. I mean, Shield Hero Season 4, can you believe that shit?
It's about time, I think. Actually, yeah. So in terms of like series, like TV series that have released and have scores, there's 60 shows.
Jesus, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, no, legit. We usually is what, 40? 45?
No, like 45 to 50, something like that.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, that's insane.
Right, but just from right now, there are 10 shows that are rated 10 and up. So that includes Gachakuta, Call of the Night Season 2, the new Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt.
You mean
Summer
8?
Hikaru died. Yeah, 8's and up. Part 2 of Dr. Stone, Science Future, Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus. I think you probably will be slowly catching up to watching that, right?
Yeah, because I need to watch the movies.
Yeah, and then, of course, the aforementioned sequels, right? Dan to Dan, Grand Blue, then Majestic Darling, and of course the crown jewel of TV new would be Fragrant Flower. It'd be the number 1 show if it were not for Takopi's Original Sin.
Yep. So that's it. I honestly feel like if we were to do a seasonal bets, we would be pretty shit if we did that. Thank God we didn't.
Oh wait,
what's up?
Oh, Infinity Castle just dropped.
Really?
Yeah, the trilogy adaptation of Infinity Castle.
All of it?
Yeah.
Huh.
It released July 18th.
Huh. Then what the fuck are we doing and not watching that? Wait, is it all of it?
I don't know, but I'll just say this. Maybe because Demon Slayer's kind of dropped off a little bit recently.
Ooh.
I mean, the ratings for the shows have been dropping like season to season to season, dude.
Well, I guess it's the Harashi training arc also didn't do it a lot of
the
favors.
Hashira training arc.
Hashira, sorry.
But look at it this way, right? Like Demon Slayer started off at an 8.43, then 8.55. Entertainment District arc was fucking gangbusters, 8.71. Then the Swordsmith Village arc was 8.18, and then Hashira training arc was 8.09. So it's fallen off, my man. The last time you had like some real crazy shit with Demon Slayer was back in 2021. Right? Like, they were really riding on a high with Mugen Train and Entertainment District arc, and then since then, the latest 2 seasons have just been slow. Very, very slow.
Oh, okay. So it's only the first of the 3. Thank God. I thought they released
Not
all 3 at once.
Not all three. But
scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, but I think, like, you know, it's coming out. It's coming out over the course of the year. I actually have no idea how it's actually being released, to be honest.
Oh, it's just trilogy of movies. That's it.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I think that wraps it up then. So I don't have any parting thoughts other than, you know,
Go watch some anime.
Go watch some anime. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay safe, everyone who is in Hong Kong from the typhoon. Actually, wait. That's a stupid thing to say because when this episode comes out,
yeah, it's already well past. But
it'll be super weird if it doesn't, though.
Yes, if it's been like a week long's worth of typhoons, that would be terrifying. But anyways, regardless, stay safe, stay dry, and we'll all catch you in the next episode.
Peace out.